can do to the economy. Believed all of it, man. And you know, yeah, it's terrible because I know you also get like culturally defensive. You get like because they ask you stupid things. You guys have McDonald's in Africa? Of course we've got McDonald's. Pepsi and chicken legging, you know. And I realized that when I went to like Botswana, that like they also have the same problem with South Africans, right? Because South Africans get there and they think they're better than everybody, you know, because you've got a big airport and shit. Now you're telling people, this thing is not the airport. Tell you but it was great flying to Botswana, in like Air Botswana, you know, very cool. First time I flew in an airline that spoke Setswana. Nice. I'm like, yeah? I'm like, yeah, Realenda. Very cool. But when you get to Botswana, the people mad defensive, you know? You're like, just like, can I have a glass of water? Of course we've got running water. What do you take us for, you know? Like, yeah, can I use the toilet? I just decided to start fucking with them, you know? I was like, so do you have gonorrhea, syphilis? Of course we've got syphilis. It was terrible, you know. But then they keep on going, you know. They tell you about how stupid we are and all that type of stuff. And I had to explain to them that no, we weren't as fortunate as them. They've had their independence for years. You know, we had to go to Bantu education. You know, it's crazy. You remember Bantu education? Maybe you guys are a bit too young. I remember Bantu education. I remember like the only words I learned in Afrikaans class. You know, en kekel. I want bluff. And a bull maka black. And my parents used to ask me what I want to be when I grew up, and I said, well, it's obvious, mama. A bull. English class was crazy as well, you know. The only words I learned in English was yes, no, and may I please go out. And then to go to lunch, we had to say this password. We didn't know what the hell it meant, but you know, it meant lunch. You know, for the food we are about to receive, we thank thee, oh Lord, amen. Terrible. And my English teacher used to say, a lot, right? Not because she was stupid, but because English was not her first language. So she had to think of the words. Shut your mouth. Extravaganza, you know? It was crazy. But then as kids, we used to think that that's the way we speak English, right? So you be in math class and the teacher's like, 1 + 1 in class is like, 2. Hey! But the craziest thing, it happened, like the craziest one when I went to a private school, you know, where we had like actual English teachers from England, right? Couldn't hear what the fuck they were saying half the time. Wait, what? Like, you know, I remember the one day the teacher came up to us, because I used to think that I knew English, man. You know, I've got to be at Bantu education, I'm going to show them, you know. The teacher came up to us in the playground, and I was sitting there with my friends, and she was like, yes, little one, what is your name? And I was like, yes! And she looked at me all confused. And I could see that, and I was like, ma'am, please go out! My friends were always sending me, yeah, you know. So what did she say? I didn't know. I know. She says everything is fine. It's fine. It was crazy. Yeah, I miss living in the townships though. You know, made a bit of money. Moved away. But yeah, I miss living in the township. The one thing I miss about the township is like crazy people. You know, because when you're living in the suburbs, there's not like crazy people. You don't have access to crazy people. They're all like in these mental institutions and shit, right? In Kasi, there's like crazy people everywhere. Because there you don't get people telling you, oh no, he's got a multiple personality disorder. No. It's schizophrenia is a heart, you know? It's always simple, you know? When you're crazy, there's always like one of three things. Either about loyalty. You've been bewitched, right? And then, or you smoke too much weed, or you study too much. You know, I remember my uncle used to say, my uncle would be like, yeah, trigonometry, must be very careful with this biology. Oh, I used to be scared of studying, man. Mad. I remember this crazy guy in my township, Uncle Bob, you know. He was cool, always used to drive around, you know, with his Mercedes-Benz wheel cap. And he was old, you know, wearing plastic bags. We were crazy, and I always wanted to get into this car of his, you know. Always, you know. And he'd always be like, no, you know. And then one day, like I was playing in the garden and he was there, his car was stuck, you know. Fixing the carburetor or some shit. Eventually got it there, got it started, and I saw an opportunity and asked for a lift, you know. And he was like, okay, come. And I got in, he was like, the door. And I'm like, oh, sorry, we're in there. You know, fix the mirror, my seat belt, you know. And I was proper, and like we started going, held on to him. And we went to, we traveled far. You know, going past the potato store. All the other kids that always wanted to ride, I saw them there. Going around, man, and shit. And then he just like started going crazy, you know, started speeding, you know. Slow down, Uncle Bob. You know, then I was like, yeah, he wouldn't. Then I saw my house coming up, you know, and I was like, cool, that's where I stay. I'm gonna tell him, oh, police, yeah, please, this way. Then he just drove past my house. Oh, man, and I'm freaking out. And my sister's in the garden playing, you know, she sees me going past screaming. She like starts screaming at my mom, Mama kidnapped me! Yeah, you know. She runs in there, man, it's crazy. Uncle Bob doesn't want to hear shit. We drive far, you know, he drops me there at the back of the township where like the dumps are, you know. You know, like, follow. I'm like, Uncle Bob, but it's far from home. Footack, man, get out, you know. I get out of the car, walk home far. You know when you missed your bath time and shit, man. Having to think how you're going to explain this to your mom. Get there, my mom was waiting with a belt, you know. Where were you? Uncle Bob. We drove and it was far. Why didn't you get off? He locked the doors. She looked at me and she was like, Bao Loy! You guys have been great. Thank you very much.